fucking god.
Hello.
The sacred path was not followed in this show.
It was not very sacred. They trampled a lot of things.
So I'm going to preface something for you guys, the viewer. We don't agree with the show being called Halo. It's not Halo. It doesn't follow Halo. It is one of the worst adaptations I have ever seen. This is... from here on out, we'll be referencing this show as The Sacred Ring. Because this is not Halo!
No, it's not.
It's the worst bit at the end of it. It says, let me find it on the screen because I'm recording. It says here, based on the Halo video game universe. No, it's not!
It says based on the Halo video game universe, not based on the Halo game, not based on Halo, not Halo. It's based on the Halo.
But it's not based on it. It's inspired by it.
universe.
We're getting into semantics, but this is not based on the universe. Nothing is the same other than what, a couple of the guns looking the same. I mean, the armor looking the same, even though the Spartans themselves are like a foot shorter than they should be. All the characters are different. Like, a lot of people was complaining about Captain Keyes' race being different. That's insignificant in comparison to the multitude of other things that are wrong with the show. This isn't an adaptation. They've just taken the universe and morphed it into whatever they want. I think the only other adaptation that's probably worse than this is The Witcher show. Me and Maya had a big conversation about that before we started the recording.
The whole bit about the Sacred Ring makes absolutely no sense. Because they decided to call it the Sacred Ring. Or sorry, they decided to call it Halo because they translated something as the Sacred Ring. And they're like, Halo.
Like, I remember
like
seeing
ritual circle, not like ring.
No. How it was is like, I think it was Kai and Miranda Keys, and they were like sitting down and like they translate, because I think she speaks Shanghaili or something like that. They took that from one of the characters from Halo 5, and they were saying and it was like, that means Sacred Ring. Oh, Halo. And I'm like, how did you get to that?
Yeah, Halo is a very specific thing. At least Sacred Ring is vague and sounds like a translation. We translated this, but we don't speak the language perfectly, so we can only translate it by what its literal definition is.
Yeah.
They have no cultural reason to think that it would be the same as Halo.
Yeah. Well, let me preface this first. We'll be judging this based on two things: as an adaptation and on its own merits. Now, on this as an adaptation, what would you give it? And we'll meet in the middle with what I would give it. I already have the number. I'm holding up my hands. I already know what I'd rate it.
I'd give it a 4
Really?
because a lot of it is similar for the universe, but not plot specific.
So I would give it about a 3. So I guess we meet at 3.5 as an adaptation, and then on its own merits, what would you rate it? I already got my list. Sorry, my thing right here. You can't see it. 3 for me.
Wow.
So 4. It's a 4 out of 10 overall. I'm not passionate about this TV show. You know? I would be passionate about the games, but this is not what we're doing now. It fails every shape and form. And I honestly don't think they care. And I've realised I left my window open because there's a bird who's agreeing with me. Thank you, birdie. But
Chirp, chirp.
yeah, let me close.
I kind of want to open up my window, but if I do, you'll just hear Jin chirping back.
What, your cat?
Sometimes because, like, one, she loves the window and I just can't say no to her. But also because it gets really hot in here and Jin is a big floofy Turkish Angora. So I open the window and I let her just perch out there. But she'll sit right outside my window and she'll just be chirping so loudly. Like, she'll just chirp at me from the window and I'll be recording and I'm like, oh, there's Jin. It's not a bird. That's Jin.
Your cat just chirps like a bird.
Yeah, I mean, actually, one of my videos, because Jin would not stop chirping the entire time. It can't stop her. She's just gonna chirp if she wants to chirp. I started the video with, like, explaining that she chirps, and you can just hear her chirping.
I just can't wait. I can't wait to hear your cat just suddenly go whack.
Like I can talk.
Yeah. Oh, let me get the sound effect. Imagine if your cat just opened its mouth and just went. Oh my god.
Maybe that's it. You've just been thinking I just have a lot of birds outside my window. I really don't. I just have Jin.
Fair enough. Alright, so let's put our review goggles on and get to work. So,
infrared.
So, what are your thoughts on the show?
I think that a good plot, don't get me wrong, can be stereotypical, but I think a good plot should be something builds and then something breaks. And then people reacting to the building and the breaking the whole time. I feel like this show has been focusing so much on the sacred ring, and has been focusing too much on the keys, the keystones, and on John's emotional capability that they forget they are literally in war. There should be battles. This is based off of a game where you are constantly in war, but they completely just left that aspect out of the plot.
Yeah, and how it makes the characters feel and what are their emotions? Hence why they need to have them take their helmets off every 2 bloody seconds to show their facial expressions. You know, like in the last episode of the show where they're on a ship and they're going through something that could potentially make them spaghettify. That's what Cortana said. And Avengers like, spaghettify? What do you mean by spaghettify? And I'm like, and it's like, use your fucking brain. Perhaps as you hear that, and you know, there's turbulence in your ship and you're flying all over the place. Maybe. Hold on, let me bring my mic closer to me. Maybe you should put your helmet on. Oh! But I guess that's foreign to these fuckers, isn't it? So they don't.
Yeah.
And then they make it to location. Oh.
Spaghettification, I could be wrong when I say this, take me back to my physics class, is a very specific term in reference to like black holes.
That's what I said. Really? So we actually just finished watching the last episode like an hour ago. And that's one of the things I said. I was like, wouldn't that be if the light's getting sucked into a location, would that be considered a black hole?
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to see anything.
Yeah, but I guess
it makes a kaleidoscope effect.
Yeah.
Well, Cortana, if you knew this the whole time.
Yeah, and she never tells them that. Hell, even Vanek was like, why would you wait now to tell us this? And she's like, oh, I just didn't think you guys should know because I didn't want to stress you out. And I'm like, bitch, what's your fucking job?
It's pretty ridiculous that John's the one to find the location when all the people with all the assets to find the location were always there.
Yeah, he just uses the force and just like knows the way. And I guess I meant to say, because he's taken out the emotional impact, he's able to feel his way through. Because the one thing that held back the Spartans becoming the best hope for humanity was how they feel.
Oh, yeah. Soldiers exploring their humanity or having to emotionally grip with the horrors of war, like those are fascinating topics. Because you are trained specifically not to. If you do something as simple as an inhibitor chip and on and off, but you don't have any negative side effect for turning it off, that's not as interesting. Like if John now has gripping rage and he attacks and breaks things because he has to now feel the concept of rage. Or if he becomes so emotionally overwhelmed that he can't kill someone he needs to kill, thus resulting in a horrible outcome. That's exploring a plot point with emotions. Not just things are better.
Let me interject here. I mean, as a concept, it's great, but they did it terribly because what have John and Kai done? They've lashed out. John tried to kill Halsey in the middle of the season, right. And then Kai kills the pervy assistant to Halsey.
Yeah, Mister, you'll have a beautiful brain, or you have the most beautiful brain. It's just he's so weird. Yeah. I don't like him. I don't like him on scene.
Well, he's dead.
Get him
now,
out.
So he's off now. Yeah, they killed quite a few characters. They killed McKee, so I guess she's no longer going to be replacing the Arbiter anymore.
Yeah, she's going to show up though. Like her life essence is going to be on Halo or something, and it's going to guide John or something. Oh. It's just gotta be. Because she died in Halo or something.
Here's my theory. She becomes 343 Guilty Spark.
No.
Imagine.
No.
And then she's going to start hearing... and it's going to be McKee. She's going to be speaking fucking Shangeli and saying, I am the monster of Installation 004. Wow. You know what? Actually, that'd be an improvement. But they're not going to do that, actually. I'm thinking about it. They're not going to do that.
The plot's completely different from what it should have been. If you really wanted this to be an exact adaptation, it was not.
Yeah,
the plot's completely different. But the plot in itself was very much like that. John became a Mary Sue, or what is it called?
Yeah, Gary Sue.
The male version. He became a Gary Sue really, really quickly. He has been chosen by Halsey because he is special. He was always special from the very beginning.
You're the chosen one!
Yeah. He was chosen by everyone and has no flaws except this inhibitor chip that now he's removed, making him practically perfect. He doesn't suffer like immense loss or have major character flaws. All his flaws are compliments.
Do you know what we can blame it all on?
What?
Sound.
No.
Because then we segue to Kwan Ha.
And
then when she goes to see the basically this show's equivalent to the Night Sisters from Dathomir.
Yeah.
We haven't been gone to Kwan Ha. Like and that entire arc with Soren as well, and how they get the prophecy in a little asteroid space station thing about John being the chosen one, and they have that guy with the broken teeth jumping around like a bloody monkey. I'm kind of sure that's a racist, but I guess SJWs don't have any self-awareness, so they don't realize when they're being racist, but whatever. I'm just using their rules. I don't agree with identitarianism. But Kwan Ha, what do you think about that, about her arc?
One of the things that I loved about Halo was how scientific they were and how the Covenant was pursuing something that was not magical. They were actually pursuing something that they had prophecies and stories of, which was actually very rooted in history and science. They weren't pursuing a godly figure. They were pursuing a horrible mass destruction. Kwan Ha, and also some of the extra stuff that John was doing with McKee, kind of just confirms that there is a mystic force in this universe, and that there is a prophecy that is completely separate, like an actual prophecy, not a retelling of the history that I have experienced being foretold again, but there is something in the future type of prophecy. And it is confirmed there is magic, there is mysticism, there is all of this whimsic stuff in the universe, and it makes it less scientific, because now Halo could actually be a prophetic foretelling, even though we know it's not.
Yeah, like in the original trilogy of Halo games, the Forerunners are meant to be the precursors to humans, which obviously was changed after Halo 4, with the Forerunners being seen as another species. Hence why people didn't like the essentially the sequel trilogy of Halo game. Now, understanding that, we realized that the Forerunners had a plan to give the mantle of responsibility to modern humans, as they were the prehistoric humans. That was also good. So people felt this magicalness to it, but it wasn't magical. It was all scientifically based. Like you said in this, they conflate it with mysticism, magic, and stuff. Though they do give a nod to a monitor being on Magical, I think this is, where the Discount Night Sister clan, because you know that thing that pops up to them. Let me find it so we can show it.
At the well, he said he met a being, a visitor from another time. It explained to him his true purpose, his responsibility.
This person is Mother Townsend, I swear to God. This is Discount Mother Townsend from Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
At least it made sense, because it was another scientific way of exploring a force that has already been established.
They also had Kwan Ha do the same vision that Ventress had to kind of do, where they have her fighting John 117. And then she realized, after getting her ass kicked and having to respawn all the time, realized that she needs to work with him. Yeah, you see it? Right there. It's a monitor.
In her vision, she sees a monitor.
Yeah. And it sounds like the one, like, if you've ever played Halo 3 or Halo Reach, or even played the older Halo games, which you did do. By the way, the videos to Maya playing through 343 Guilty Spark on Halo 1 will be the video that you will be recommended at the end of this video, so watch that. You guys are going to be in for a bloody treat watching that video. On the end screen, it will be there. But when you hear 343 Guilty Spark floating around, that sound is what you hear. You understand?
But this is still being told in a prophetic dream.
Yeah.
Like, if this was happening IRL, then it would be scientific. But she's seeing things there's no way she could have seen.
Yeah, and that's the annoying thing about it. On top of that...
She could have met him.
Wait, separate. Why is he never wearing his armor?
Because emotions! He's emotional now. So you have to see his face.
Yeah,
so,
and then...
I actually kind of like his armor.
Yeah, and obviously Cortana has had the opportunity to take over his mind the entire time, which she does at the end of episode 9. Fuck spoilers. Spoiler alert! Don't watch this if you don't want to be spoiled. You've been warned.
Could you say that in a slightly less loud voice?
Spoilers.
Down in the comment section, if you want Hindsight to do ASMR videos, comment now, or I don't think he ever will.
I approve.
Oh, that bothered me so much. It's a concept that they can just keep doing.
What?
So, you know how, like, most of the main characters are all established to be, like, the smartest, the most skilled, or the highest rank? They keep delegating tasks to people underneath them that ask them to be extremely skilled when they're not. So, like, Miranda Keys is like, I can't clean up the audio. There's 2 different waves at 2 different frequencies. I can't figure it out. And then she finally realizes, oh, that's who it is. She runs out the room, and she tells to an assumed inferior, I want that audio cleaned up. But she's the smartest one in the room whose job was to do that. And if she can't do it, why is she assuming that her inferior can do it?
Yeah, that was another thing that bothered me. Like, it was so meticulous and contrived on how she found out at the point where it was going to be the most detrimental to McKee. You think she would have cleaned up a while ago? It's taken her half a fucking season to clean up this one audio file?
Everyone's not being very military. She finds out that McKee is the issue. She herself runs to inform, and she knows where to go, but She runs to inform people instead of sending guards or armed soldiers who then's job would be then to inform and detain. She didn't give an order. She just went and did it herself, which is not very military either. Your job is to be smart, not to detain or run errands or inform people.
That's the thing that confuses everything, because Miranda's not meant to be military. She might be a military doctor, but even military doctors still follow the chain of command.
She was in all of people who were
probably... No, I get what you mean, but it's just, it shows the people who made the show, the writers, I guess you could say, just a placeholder for people in charge of the show, don't understand how things work on official levels, so they kind of assume they know, and they think, well, she's a doctor, she's not going to be doing things military. But then again, people were never doing things military in this bloody show unless Captain Keyes is giving them orders. Meanwhile, the Admiral Woman is there the entire time, and other superiors like Lord Hood are there, but Captain Keyes is shouting at people as if there aren't other superiors that need to be addressed. Then again, it's because he's in charge of that entire thing. There's no consistency when it comes to leadership, when it comes to organization in the show. Even you got confused because you thought Vanek was giving Kai the order to shoot John, when in reality he was just saying we need him in a fight. And it's because everything's based on emotion. Everything needs to be about the emotional stimuli. Oh, look at John's face and his sad face. Well, John's actor's not the best, but
it's a drama.
Yeah,
not a military.
Yeah, focusing on the drama. And that's the thing, in the Halo games, whilst it was so good, at least the original trilogy, and even Halo 4 to a certain extent, that stuff was never on the forefront. It was there. It was on the side. Like, we felt something from seeing spoilers for Halo 3. You've been warned. If you don't want to be spoiled, here's what you should do.
Run.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I wanted to get that. That's what you should do. When Sergeant Major Avery Johnson gets sparked, for lack of a better term, by 343 Guilty Spark, you feel that emotion. Because he's out. If you combine him with the Arbiter, Thelvadam, and Master Chief John 117, those are two of the strongest individuals in the bloody galaxy, right there, right? And then Johnson, who's just a normal Marine who went through Spartan training, so fair enough to him, who's been through the entire thing alongside John, as almost like his best friend, gets laid. Do you feel that? You're like, well, it's an action game. How would you feel the emotion? Well, it's because you see the friendship building up through them, especially through Halo 2. You see their connection grow, their friendship, helping them find Cortana and stuff like that. Johnson had an emotional investment in them, and it builds over time. But they're just constantly throwing the drama, and on top of that, they don't build it up in a way that, let's say, Game of Thrones built the drama. Drama was always in Game of Thrones, but it was made in a way that explained things and complemented other things and explained things about the characters. There's not a lot of that in this show. There's not a lot of character development. I think the stuff with Captain Keyes and Holding is really good. The stuff with Miranda and Jacob Keyes bonding, the father and daughter thing, is really nice. But then when you connect it to the rest of the story, it just falls flat. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's sad, man. It really is. Anyway, I interrupted you. Go on. Make your point.
I really like the woman. I think she's the only one who actually follows the chain of command. The woman who's in charge of the entire Spartan program.
The Admiral. I don't even know what her name is.
She's the only one who delegates tasks to people properly. She's literally like, you guys detain her, and you do this, or I will have to remove you. And like, it's like, oh, that makes sense. That sounds like a military person. Oh, no.
Yeah, she's actually like consistent with her character. Yeah, this one right here. I'm trying to think. We should rate the characters from 1 to 10, like best to worst. I think she's my favorite. You think she's your favorite? I think Soren's the best character in the show. We haven't even covered Soren. Yeah, Soren is.
I think he's a breath of fresh air.
He's the breath of fresh air from Quan Ha's arc. Soren is my favorite character in the show. He's the only one that actually seems to be level-headed and realistic and authentic. They do mess him up a little bit, like him getting tased. You remember the bit where she's like, it's like before she goes to the Night Sisters.
The Sand Sisters.
The Sand Sisters, yeah, the Sand Sisters. Hold on.
No.
The Sand Sisters. Let me find it quickly. Also, Vincher is. This is a guy. This guy just gets typecasted because he's the he's the bad guy in Game of Thrones in the bit with the rebellion from the Night's Watch that gets killed by Jon Snow.
He's a good actor.
He's a good actor, but he's just, if he doesn't have a moustache to twirl, but that's basically what he is. He's that typical villain character, and he's not good. And I feel like they could have built on the morality of him actually seeing the bigger picture of that the Covenant is actually the big threat, hence when he's working with the UNC, but instead they just make him evil. Why? What's the point?
Because my brother and my family have more success than me, despite the fact that I clearly have way more money than them and way more respect in the community.
What are you talking about?
Him.
He has a
His
brother?
brother. Yeah, isn't he the uncle of Kwan Ha, which would mean he's the brother of her dad?
I didn't realize that.
And that's why I could be wrong.
I have no idea where you got that from. Fair enough.
Oh no.
But they prioritize that so much, and I feel like they could have worked on the idea that they need to come together to defeat the Covenant to stop them from firing the rings. I guess they haven't discovered the ring yet, but that's what they should have been focused on.
The rings?
The
Their
sacred
rings?
rings.
The sacred rings.
Oh, the halos.
Saying, anyone who saw Halo would never say, "Oh, that's called a halo." Like that right there, that's what I would say a halo is. Like if you want me to be technical, it looks like a ring.
It's just a mess. Somehow, a trained Spartan who is as skilled as he is and is not only escaped the UNSC and the Spartan program, but has become one of the most notorious pirates in the entire galaxy, gets tased by a girl who got lucky in breaking off the hand. She didn't even break the handcuff off. She used a brittle rock to break the metal that was attached so she could be free from the bike. And just
she does it. Somehow she does it. I don't know. She succeeds successfully.
Like, as far as I'm aware, he still has a Spartan augmentation. He just doesn't have that chip, right? He should have survived that tase.
I love how no one is going to discuss the implications that taser previously leaves scars, marks, and pain, but doesn't detain a young child. But now it detains a full-grown adult.
Or McKee also goes through the same thing in episode 8 and gets tased, and she's just screaming, and then is able to bloody touch the artifact and then spread everyone out. Yeah. After the plot thickens, finally, because Miranda conveniently find out the thing. What's her face gets...
Like, they added cornstarch, a little slurry into the plot.
She gets tased and she's still alive and she gets flashbacks. Also, they ruined her character because she likes this. But...
I'm sure she likes power. She says that before she enters the room. Oh no, it's a slightly different weapon. But the one from previous looks like the weapon that...
Yeah, but why would you need to inflict pain on her?
She's been detained.
That's my point. They just force it in there. And we didn't... So when me and you first watched this, we spoke very highly of this episode. We said it was the best episode in the show. It's not. Mm-hmm. It's the one that actually, retains any cohesion with the drama. But overall, when you look at the entire story of episode 8, it's not good. It's actually worse than before. We and you gave it a 6 out of 10 overall. It's more like a 3. One thing that annoys me about this stuff is they give the jackals energy swords.
Jackal energy sword time. I don't know why. I always thought that the jackals did. Like that at some point the jackals had energy swords.
Well, it seems the writers of the show thought that too, because I guess they're not keeping the lore consistent.
I actively was trying to kill jackals when we were doing our Let's Play because I wanted to get energy swords. I remembered that. So if I got that so wrong, that explains why I never had an energy sword.
Yeah, it does explain that. Because it was the elites that had them. So the energy swords are actually, not a common weapon. They're meant to be almost like a ritualistic thing for the elites. And only higher ranking elites were given energy swords. You wouldn't see a minor or a major of an energy sword. You'd only see, zealot class ones or ultras or something like using energy swords.
No wonder that I didn't have one.
It bugs me because they're all using weapons from our time. Like, the revolver that he uses is the Rhino. It's a modern revolver. But it's being used 500 plus years later. It makes no sense to me. Wouldn't they have...
the equivalent of flint rock.
Yeah, that's the equivalent of everyone, people using AR-15s and AK-47s, then you just see someone bring out a bloody musket.
Hold up, I need to push down my gunpowder. Pull out the long.
That's basically what it is. And he dominates throughout this entire fight. This stuff with Soren is probably the saving grace of it. It's the least egregious. You know what I would have preferred? If they make this a separate thing from the main stuff. Leave John out this and make it be about Soren.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. We could watch John's story and then Soren's story and
No,
Soren...
I don't want John's story to be in this. Leave that for the game.
Oh, I mean, just separately.
Yeah, have it be around Soren, a rogue Spartan who's become a pirate. And maybe have John appear for one bit. Yeah. I would have focused the entire stuff around Kwan Ha and Soren and developed their stuff a lot more. That way,
the side story effects of the war.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been much better if they just focused on Soren and Kwan Ha. And that way, we would have grown to like Kwan Ha. It would have kind of been like Anakin and Ahsoka from Star Wars. Everyone hated Ahsoka in season 1 and to a certain extent too, but she grew over time, and now she's one of the most beloved Star Wars characters I know. There's just a lot of inconsistencies. The show is bad. Let's just leave it at that. I don't think there's anything else we need to cover. Don't watch this. And if you're going to, find a way to do it for free. I'm not saying to pirate it or anything. I'm just saying find a friend who has Paramount Plus so you don't have to. It's just not. It's not well written. It's a terrible adaptation of the Halo games and the books. It's just not good enough. There's a couple of familiar names and familiar titles, but nothing's the same. None of the characters are the same. Everything's inconsistent. It's just not good. And on its own merits, it's even worse.
Oh yeah, it's really bad.
So yeah.
Said play The Witcher.
Or play the Halo games, because this is a Halo video.
Oh yeah, play Halo.
Or
Play The Witcher.
Or watch Maya play through the most scariest part of Halo ever.
Oh no. Or maybe don't watch that.
No, you should.
Don't watch that.
You should, because looking at the past, hindsight is such a wonderful thing. See you in the next one.
Bye bye.
And subscribe so I can make more videos.